All right, welcome to the third installment of this thing we're doing. Hopefully you already have suggested a few names and we'll capture them for maybe episode 5 or 6 and change the name to whatever you suggested and works. For now, it's this thing we're doing, right?
Yeah, I actually like that.
Okay.
Generic enough.
Generic enough. Just like that, what was the show that was about nothing?
Yeah, Seinfeld. But I hate it when people say that was a show about nothing, because that was a show they did was the idea of doing a show about nothing.
What?
But Seinfeld had at least 3 different storylines that would meet in the end. There was all kinds of things going on. It was not about nothing.
Oh, they created that term, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was popular and
now everybody wants to do
and
a
people
show
refer
about
to it that way. Yeah, yeah.
Like one of the shows that I really like is the Seinfeld's comedians in cars getting coffee.
Yeah.
It has the stupidest name.
Yeah.
But it's so fun.
Yeah.
Really hardcore. Anyways, we're digressing here. And in the last episode, we were talking about your app deploy.
Yep. App deploy.
Background and how you created a community of 600,000 people a month. You were breaking your back printing DVDs, which sounds ancient.
Yeah.
I'm saying that you're not 40 something, you're 60 something. in a well-maintained phase. But you said something that caught my attention. And I know your background, but I think these people don't know. It's that you were a secure environment, and you couldn't connect to the internet or something. You were in an anchor. So were you in a dungeon or what?
Sort of. I was in the basement of the East Wing of the White House.
Okay, I've been there.
Yeah?
Yeah, through the West Wing, the series. They have a few episodes.
Yeah, the West Wing. But I was in the East Wing. East Wing's a little more, not as fancy.
Okay.
I mean, big giant vault doors and, drop floor and
when was the White
center.
House built?
Oh, you're asking the wrong guy. You think I'd know something about it? Haven't been there for 4 years.
Yeah, I was hoping for a tour here. Like, we'll put it down here in the comments or something.
That was the good thing that I could do, though, while I was there, is I had family come out of the woodwork because I was able to do tours.
Okay.
I could take people through the West Wing, and you could get behind the podium in the press office and do pictures. Yeah, everybody loved it. So that was fun.
Take a phone call. Hey, this is your cousin Peter. How you doing, Bob?
Yeah.
Take me to the White House.
Hey, I happen to be coming to D.C. next week. Yeah. But it was fun.
I just recently became a citizen of this wonderful country, and I learned that by calling your representative, your congressman or congresswoman, you can get a tour of the White House and the Congress. And so I took my family there like 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, and it was awesome because literally they take you from the office buildings down through the tunnels.
Oh, okay, good.
To the Congress. We didn't do the White House because we didn't have time, but it's an amazing tour because you get the inside of it. And one of the staffers for the congressperson takes you and gives you all the details and history of the White House and the Congress. It's such a fantastic thing. So I can imagine that you were not as good as a tour guide for your family, but
I would lean on people that knew more. Okay. So I had friends that worked on the West Wing, and when I take them over there, I'd kind of pass them off.
Okay.
They do the little spiel for me.
Could you go from the east to the West Wing?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could walk all around the White House.
So nothing was off limit?
No.
And you told me a story about a little briefcase that you used to carry for our international audiences. This is when I was like, dude, you're the real thing when I met you and you told me this. For an international audience, you might not know what the football is. Yeah, not the sport. No.
Not a soccer ball.
Not the international football that should be called football, and not the American version of football. That's not football, it's hand egg. It's the football. And can you please explain what the football is?
So the football is probably something a little more high-tech today.
Okay.
When I was lugging it around, it was 2 big metal suitcases full of books.
Okay.
And they were codes. So if the president needed to talk to some other country or launch missiles or anything super important where you obviously wouldn't just take the word for, well, it sounds like the president, so I'll turn the key. There's books that were printed that were at both locations. And so on this day at this time, you turn to page 800 and go to this column and this number and read that code. And if the other guy has the same code, then you're at least both in possession of these things that are very well guarded.
Okay.
So it's it was a pretty simple process really, but it was one of those things that obviously very sensitive, so we'd have to inventory it constantly. So that was the fun part, the reality of it.
Inventory the books inside the briefcase, or?
Yeah, so every time you'd leave, like if the president was going on a run, or going to church, or going out for a burger, you always had to be, in my role, within so many feet of them. Mm-hmm. So we'd be in the motorcade, and we'd have these codes in case they were needed. And then every time we came back, you had to open up the boxes, take all the books out, log them all, present, sign it, lock them back up. And then, he's going out, all right, grab them again. So it was a lot of that. Not very exciting.
Let's do a mini.
But it sounds great, and everybody's impressed by it, but it was horrible.
Let's do a mini rapid fire session here.
Right.
Why is it called the football? There's no foot involved there.
Well, because you got to run it around to the president.
Okay. Which president was this?
It was President Clinton.
So you were next to Clinton all the time?
Yeah.
And Vice President?
Gore.
You were, who were you with most of the time?
Mostly the president when we were in town, but when we would do travel trips, we had a pretty large team. It was called the White House Communications Agency. I was the sysadmin, which was like a one-person role, but we would take turns when there was travel trips. So if he's going to Jakarta or Lyon or even back home or to vacation, we had rotating people that would go on different trips. So when I would come up mostly for vice presidential trips because I was certified as a communications lead for vice presidential trips. So I did more with the VP, and then every so many trips with the president, I would just come up on the list and go do the trip.
As you have realized, Bob does not understand the concept of a rapid fire session, but thank you for the explanation.
Stop asking me difficult questions.
It's not difficult. Why is it football? It's not a football. Well,
it's not. That would have satisfied you.
Yeah, exactly. It's a rapid fire session. Who was the best?
No.
Okay. Can't go there.
I don't know what your question is. I'm just trying to be quick.
I just say no. Okay. So you were in the Army, was it?
Navy.
Navy, and that's what got you into that role.
Yep.
You're a communications specialist. That means that, of course, with the football contained books, it was, the early principles of cryptography and communication. Who was the leader that he communicated the most at that time? Can't tell.
No, I probably just shouldn't.
Why do you have to shoot me?
Yes.
Okay.
I have to shoot you.
That got scary really fast. All right. So if you have any questions for Bob about
that I can't answer,
that he can answer about his White House job, please post them in the comments, and we'll try to answer them in whatever next episode of.
We never talked about IT Ninja.
Let's talk about IT Ninja in the next episode. How about that? Okay. Cheers, guys.